do the part that we have been doing, I'm going to do that a little faster. I want to focus on solving the case when you have two triangles, okay? So this is particularly SSA cases with two solutions. So you have identified, right? You have identified this one, and you have identified this one. Like you know that there are two triangles. It's triangle 1 and triangle 2. So what does that actually mean? That's literally what we're trying to say. We're trying to say, based on the information given, you could have a triangle that looks like this, or you could have a triangle that looks like this. And that will change the answers, of course. Okay? So given an SSA, when two solutions are possible, you have to find the remaining unknown values. The ones, this is a typo here. The ones you are given remain unchanged. Okay, so the ones that we give you, those are fixed. They do not change. So here we go. DF, you've got side D, side F, angle D. You recognize that this is a pair. And you have another side. So you know this is SSA. And it's particularly the acute case. Remember, the obtuse case is either one triangle or no triangle. So there's no need to solve for two triangles there ever. It's only the acute case. So we do our little, I don't want to take up too much space here. But we're going to make sure we label this properly this time around. So the 27 goes here. That's angle D, folks. Okay, make sure you put a D there. It matters for this particular, when you're solving as well, you want the letter to go where it's supposed to go. Side D is 25. And the other side, we're going to force that to be over here. Okay, normally if I don't ask you to solve, I don't need all the letters where they are. Like if I just want to know how many triangles, you don't have to do the letters. If this is side F, though, this technically somewhere in here will be angle F, so DF. So which one is left? Which angle is left? E hasn't been used yet, so where would it naturally have to go? It would have to go there. Okay. So on top of all of this, we're going to bring in string and rod. So this is my string, this is the rod. Okay, I don't want to take up too much space because I need the space to solve. That's why I'm making this so small. So string is shorter than the rod. Let's figure out the height somewhere on the side. Height is 30 times sine of 27. And you end up with a height of 13.62. 13.62, okay? So then we're comparing the string and the height, and we recognize that the height, right, the string is greater than the height. Therefore, two solutions. So that you should be comfortable with. And before I go ahead and solve, it wasn't on there, but sine law cannot give us an obtuse angle. So even if we try to solve for this one, let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, this one. Even if we try to solve for this one, we wouldn't be able to do that. Sine law would immediately give us this one. It will never give you the obtuse, will always give us this. So I'm telling you, we're going to start solving for this triangle out here, and we're going to do the obtuse next. We're not going to start with the obtuse triangle because of that issue. So follow me here, back to this. So my two solutions are as follows, okay? this, and this. This is solution number 1. This is solution number 2. We are going to start with this one every time. Start with that first, please. Otherwise, you're going to miss it. So let's draw this. So now I'm going to make it a little bit, I'm going to use a ruler for this part. So I'm actually going to draw the first one. Okay. And what do we know already? We know that this is D, E, F. We know that this is 27, that's fixed. We know that this is 30 miles, and we know that this is 25 miles. That does not change. That is fixed. Let's make our second version. Let me see here. This one. This is our second one. This is D, E, F. Okay? 27, 30, this is 25. Wait a minute. So, solve for angle F, please. Solve for angle F. How many F's do we have? We've got 2, right? We've got 2 E's. And we've got 2 sides down here that we need to solve for. So watch what I do. I call this E1 F1, and this is E2 F2 to make a distinction between them. Which means this last side here is E lowercase e1, and this is lowercase e2. So folks, you're basically solving 2 triangles. That's it. That's the new part here. But there's a problem. If you were to start with this one, you would not be able to find that angle at first. So let's start with this one here. Sine of 27, because I've got my pair, it's sine law. The only thing we can solve for is angle F, right? Because we've got the side. So we're going to go sine of angle F1 over 30. Let's solve this. Sine F1 is 30 times sine of 27 divided by 25. That is essentially sine inverse of 0.544, and that keeps going because I want to use all decimals, right? So angle F1 is 33.01. And I know it's annoying that we're using 2 decimals, but that's, in grade 12, the province is going to expect you to round everything to 2 decimals minimum. So if it asks for F1, or angle F, this is one option for angle F. Let's solve for angle F on this side, on this triangle. So sine of 27 over 25, sine of F2 over 30. And now let's look at both of these setups here, guys. Don't they look identical? Except for the F1 and F2, don't you think everything else is the same, correct? Are we going to get a different answer? We're not going to get a different answer. But we know better, right? We know that this is obtuse. So watch, I'm just going to show you this one time. 30 times sine of 27 divided by 25. Angle F2 is sine inverse of 0.544 something. Angle F2 is 33.01. What's going on here? That can't be. Okay? We'll say, but angle F2 is obtuse. Therefore, angle F2 is going to be 180 minus 33.01. And I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to tell you that, right, we're subtracting the acute angle we found in our first triangle that we tackled. And so now we're saying that angle F2 is 146.99. So can you do yourselves a favor next time? Save all of this work. Just don't even do it. And just go immediately. If you know what F1 is, guys, what can you say about F2? It's just going to be 180 minus that. That should blow your minds. Okay. It should go. Anyways, so remember that. You can save all of this work and just next time just go, oh, I found this angle. I'm just going to take that away from 180 to get the other angle. So if I ask you, what's angle F? What would you say? It's either this or this. Those are your two options. Okay? Keep going. What about angle E? If I ask you for angle E, I will just do a conclusion here. Therefore, angle F is equal to 33.01 or 146.99. If that's what the question asked for, is like solve for angle F, then you would be done at this point. What about angle E1? How would I find angle E1? Let me zoom out. How many angles do I now know of this triangle? I know D and I know F1, right? E1 is just taking 180 minus these two angles, right, to get that one. So let's find that real quick. 180 minus 27 minus 33.01. Sorry, you can't see that. I want to have the diagrams on there. Angle E1 is, I already have this figured out, 119.99. Therefore, angle E2 is going to be 180 minus the 27, right? The 27 is there, minus the one I just found here, 46.99, 146.99. Angle E2 is 6.01 degrees. So I'm going to underline that. Okay. And I'm going to use this space here. Angle E is 119.99 or 6.01 degrees. So if it asks you for E, you would stop there. You're done. But what about if the question asked you and you hope this one doesn't come your way? But what if the question asked, what's this side here? What's side E? You've got an option here. You've got an option there. You've got the long and the short side. I'm going to say this. Let's cut this here. Side E, question mark. And I'm just going to quickly do this diagram here. I found that this is 119.99. I know this is 30. I know this is 25. That's going to give me E1. What kind of case is that? SAS? SAS? What law do I use for that one? Cosine law? I use cosine law. If you like to use sine law, you would just have to fill this up with more information, use sine law to solve for it, but I use cosine law. What about the other one? The other one that looks like this angle up here, I just solved for, it's 6.01. This is still 30, this is still 25, that doesn't change. That's going to give me E2. So E1, how do I find E1? I know it's a little confusing. What's up with the 1 and the 2? I don't like that. It's just there's sub 1, sub 2. There's two E's. I'm just differentiating between them. This would be 30 squared plus 25 squared minus 2 times 30 times 25 times cosine of 119.99. E1 is going to be the square root of something, and then I'll find what E is. I'm running out of room, that's why I put it next to it here. Slow down, Mr. Dirksen, it's too fast. What about this one? E2 squared. Oh, it's still the same two sides. What? It's the same two sides all over again. That's why I use cosine law. It makes this part, the first part, the same, but except for now I have cosine of 6.01. I'll type all of that into my calculator and find out that E2 is square root of something, and then I'll find out what E. So this is E1, this is E2. For the sake of time, I will give you what the root, what is inside the root already. I was going to do this with you on the calculator, but at this point I would expect you to know how to type that in already. So E1 is 47.69 inches. Miles, not inches. Okay, so this is E1. E2 is going to be shorter. This is 33.24 ... You take the square root of that, you get 5.77 miles. So side E is either 47.69 miles or 5.77 miles. Sorry, Jenny, I'm going to move this. Is that better? Where are these two triangles coming from? They're coming from the very top. I just brought them down. I will highlight because I think you should too. What? Did I make a mistake? No. Say that again, Marie. This one? So E1, this is saying E1 squared. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know how else to do this other than doing E sub 1, E sub 2. Could you relabel it? If you want to relabel it, sure. If that bothers you, You know what? If it bothers you, I would even be okay with just going e squared. Like I can tell that you know the difference. Do you need these diagrams? You don't need these diagrams. I don't need you to add all those extra layers. Okay. Okay. Can I just highlight? I'm going to say that this 6.01 is what I use in this triangle, right? It's that small angle there. And it's the 119 here that goes over here. Okay, I'm using those to use cosine law. But make sure you understand, okay, what's this angle here technically? What's this one? 27, right? 27, so you have a pair. You could use that pair and then use this angle to solve for that side using sine law if you wanted to. Same here. This is 27, 27 over that. And then this angle will allow you to solve for side E2. Not a problem at all, okay? You're going to get the same answer. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to say this before I close. Where students get this wrong, okay, where it derails is right at the beginning, okay? What part? This part right here. The fact that it is an SSA and that there's two possible triangles, okay? I want you to start with this one. Find the first angle that is missing. Find this one. And then immediately jump to this one. All you have to do is subtract the one you found from 180 to get the 146, to get that other one. And from there on in, it's subtract, right? Subtract from 180, you use sum of triangles, and then plug those in. Use cosine law to solve both of the missing sides. Okay? So this is your template. This is the template that I want you to use. Right next door, page 112, is for you to practice. And this is the one that I just gave you here. You're going to have to solve the whole thing. Okay? I give you the answers right here. This is your final. The side x could be this, or it could be that. Okay? So I want you to start right now. There are two triangles. Just do the whole SSA thing as well. I will tell you this on the test. I will flat out tell you this has two solutions. This scenario has two solutions. Figure out the two possible answers for whatever I ask you. I won't make you do the whole SSA triage, figure out whether it's 0, 1, or 2 triangles. That's going to be a separate section on the test, okay? It's too much, because what if you do this? What if you do this and mistakenly say there's only one solution? You're just going to go ahead and solve the one triangle. You're not going to solve for both, right? So keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to stop. So homework for this part, just 112 and let me see here. I think I have a different plan. So for now, just 112. Homework is page 112. Plus, I'm going to send home an AC which reviews this and it reviews some word problems.